Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Week 10 in the National Football League. On the over-under, it's supposed to be on 1252 Sports Chicago on Facebook. But for some reason, I can't find it. Fat Mike, I know you're watching it on YouTube. You need to fix it for me, please. Wow, Week 10 in the National Football League. You know what's really strange? There's nobody sitting next to me. Nobody loves me. I don't know what the problem is. I feel like that at work as well. I'm kidding. Tampa Bay is in Munich, Germany, which they've taken, I believe, a 14-0 lead. They're at halftime right now against the Seattle Seahawks. Absolutely love Tampa in this game. They were very small favorites for a lot of reasons. But, man, keep doubting TB12 and see what he keeps doing up the middle of the field. Looking pretty good, especially a real hot Seattle team. Today's guests are going to be very, very short time. Is going to be Mr. Peter Blake from the Sports Web, usually my co-host. And one of the two Giant Goofballs is sitting in my back room, which, if everybody watched the shows from last week, I think it was quite entertaining. Quite entertaining. If you have a question or comment, don't be afraid to go ahead and post it. We're going to read it live on the air. We're going to break down every game in the National Football League today. We're going to give you our hottest picks. Boy, I've been on a heater. And if you want to make a call, dial 727-320-5866. That's 727-320-5866. I'm going to go ahead and bring both my guests in right now, live from his room in the Sports Web himself, Mr. Peter Blake. Peter, how are you this morning?
I'm doing great, buddy. Bucks up 14-0 at halftime. Complete domination, offensively, defensively, and once again, special teams. So
absolutely
not too bad of a breakfast.
Hey, and Mr. Andrew Davis from Two Giant Goofballs. Andrew, how are you this morning, buddy?
Good. How you doing, gentlemen? As Tom Brady would say right now, Guten Tag. There you go.
Hey, you know what? Don't forget to go ahead and post this and share it on your own platforms. Make sure you send it to somebody else. I don't know what's going on with Facebook. They suck anyway. I have no idea what's going on. Peter, did you see it by chance or no?
I didn't see it at all. I've been trying to share it, and I don't see it on their page. So
Nope, I don't see it either. Something's going on with it. Anyway, gentlemen, let's kick it off. What's going on in Tampa, Peter? I mean, this is like complete domination.
Well, it's about to start here in the second half, so I will get off here in just a moment. But 11 for 16 for Brady, 132, one touchdown. The first quarter, nothing, a missed field goal by Ryan Suckup from 52 yards. But then after that, 2 long drives there, balanced offense. Already, they averaged 61 yards of rushing at halftime, 76 yards rushing. Of course, you got Leonard Fournette going and doing the honors with the touchdown there. And it's been a balanced attack, gentlemen. And I tell you right now, what was great to see was not only that balanced attack, but when you throw it out to Julio Jones, basically in that intermediate route, him turn on the Jets for 31 yards to go in for the score. So once again, 14-0 Tampa Bay over the Seattle Seahawks in Munich.
And just for everybody's edification, it was a pick'em game for the second half, and some sites actually had the second half of Seattle -3.
Yeah.
So they think Seattle might even climb back into this game. If you can bet live action, just keep dumping it in, or Tampa's going to completely dominate. Peter, I know you want to go watch the game.
Yes.
I'm going to let you go. You don't even have to tell everybody where you're from. They all know who you are, brother.
My mom.
Huh? You're from your mom. Oh my God.
Hey, your dad helped. Your dad helped.
That's true. Very true.
Dad helped a little bit.
You guys kill it, all right? Love you guys.
You take care. Peter, have a great one. Thanks
Take
for
it easy,
coming
Peter.
on. That was pretty funny. He wanted to come in and give a little halftime update and see what was going on over there with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Man,
He's got to be happy.
oh my God. Yeah, they're completely killing them. I mean, just destroying them. I mean, I'll tell you what, they really had the defense ready to come out and play. And I'll tell you what, Brady and the offensive line looked pretty good today.
Never underestimate Pete Carroll coming back after halftime, adjusting.
No, and they just hit a tight end for a nice little 15-yard nice little 15-yard pass. Geno Smith, buddy, could he be comeback player of the year?
He very well could be. He's going to have some competition with Saquon Barkley, I think, but that's definitely one of the top candidates.
Just end the conversation right there. Saquon, you could just start chanting 3 letters, MVP, especially if this team makes the playoffs, which it would take an act of God, honestly.
The only thing that I think that would stop him from getting any kind of real accolades this season is being the fact that the sports writers themselves, for some reason, give the Giants absolutely no credit all season long. This is the first week they're probably the favorite.
No, I got to be honest with you. I was not on that bandwagon. If you remember correctly, when I was on your podcast, for those of you that don't know about it, it's 2 giant goofballs. You can catch it all over the place. Man, I was not a Giant backer. I mean, when they were playing the Bears, I says one of these teams are going to be the worst 4-1 teams probably in the history of the National Football League.
Mm-hmm.
And then they just kept winning. And everybody's like, well, they're getting lucky. You know what? You can say the same thing about the Bears. The Bears are like 2 or 3 plays away from being the Giants' record.
Good teams find a way to win. And the same point, bad teams find a way to lose.
That is absolutely correct. But then they just laid an egg. I mean, a team that I thought they weren't going to beat. I thought they were going to manhandle this team. And they just didn't do it. And I was like, okay, is this the Giant team that's coming out? No. You're going to see the Giant team today come out, whether it's going to be good or bad. We'll talk about that in a little while.
Mm-hmm.
For those of you that are on Facebook trying to view us, I know it's coming in and out. It says we're having trouble streaming to Facebook. That's maybe an issue on Facebook end. Is it possible the stream was ended or deleted on Facebook? We'll keep trying and let you know if it's resolved. Please check Facebook to ensure that the stream looks okay. If this continues for a while, try creating a new broadcast. I can't do that. That means I have to end it and do this all over again. So whoever is trying to watch the show, make sure you go over to YouTube and Twitter, or you can catch us on Spotify a little bit later when they go ahead and upload it. But what good does that do when my picks are an hour away, right, Andrew? I mean, come on.
YouTube to the rescue.
YouTube to the rescue. Dun, da, da, da. So tell me, give me some nitty gritty, Andrew. How's life been treating you, brother?
It's been treating me pretty good. Again, I can't complain as a Giant fan. I'm loving life right now. It's the Cinderella story here to the first half, and now we're getting healthy in the second half. But I mean, football in general, it's a great year. I mean, you got teams that you never thought would be winning that are winning. You got players like Geno Smith, like you mentioned, who the hell would have thought he'd be in the MVP candidate? Him,
He's
Tua,
not going to be. Okay, come on. Let's be real. He's not going to be. But it's nice to have that conversation about Geno. It really is.
Yeah, and no one's punched him this year, which is an accomplishment, I think, for him.
Tell us a little bit about that. Who actually punched Geno Smith? Tell me the backstory on that one.
Yeah, so it basically, when he first got drafted by the Jets, I definitely think there were some maturity issues. One of the players, and I can't remember which one for the life of me, but one of them actually punched him right in the face in the locker room. That's one of those moves you just don't do typically. But it was weird because the fans in New York even kind of took the guy who punched him side. It's like, well, he probably deserved it. Like, could you imagine any other quarterback getting punched and they're going, he probably deserved that? It's such a weird.
Don't mean to interrupt you. It's 3rd and 9. He just missed a quick out pattern at the goal line. And now Seattle is actually relegated to kicking a field goal. But if I was Seattle here, I don't know if you're watching the game. Oh, look at the kitty. Bring that cat up. Bring the cat up. I got to see the kitty.
He's already back down.
Poor kitty.
Here he
My
is.
kitty's better
Cat
than
number
your
2.
Kitty.
Cat number 2.
What a beautiful cat. If I was Seattle, I don't know if I take the points here. You're already down 14-0. It's 4th and 9. What else? What do you got to lose now? They're actually going to try a 40-yard field goal time. That's because Seattle's 6-3 and they're in the middle of a playoff hunt.
It's also sometimes you get those first points and it kind of gets some confidence going. You start rolling. I mean, keep in mind the second half just started. It's not like we're fourth quarter here.
There's a flag. Oh, wow. On the offense, unsportsmanlike conduct. Are you kidding me? They just keep shooting themselves in the foot. Let's talk about the first game. You ready?
Let's go.
The Vikings at the Bills. How about that one? The Vikings. You ready for this, brother?
I'm ready.
In the beginning part of the week, we're catching almost 9 points. 9.
Yep.
As the week went on, because of the uncertainty with Josh Allen, it dropped all the way to 3. It's back up to 6.5. Andrew, is Josh Allen playing or not? He's supposed to be a game time decision. What is it?
Everything I'm reading, he's going to be starting, and it's an interesting move because it's an elbow injury on his throwing arm too. So that's not like his left arm where it's just kind of sitting there and more for posture than anything else. So that's a big thing, especially after having an off week last week. How healthy is he? Can he really bounce back from that game he had against the Jets that just wasn't that good last week? I think what's going to be interesting though is the Vikings this year, if you look at their matchups, have had issues with mobile quarterbacks. Not that Josh Allen is the next Lamar Jackson by any means, but I think it's interesting to see if he maybe decides to be a little more mobile than he usually is to compensate for the issues he's having there.
Yeah, I can see that. You know what? I can tell you this. For the Vikings, Cameron Dantzler and Dalvin Tomlinson, they're both out. That's a defensive lineman and a cornerback. However, for the Bills, Greg Rousseau, Jordan Poyer out again. Jordan Poyer. That's big for that team.
Yeah.
Kerry Lem's doubtful. Josh Allen with his right elbow. Tremaine Edmonds in his groin. I'm worried more about Tremaine Edmonds. The Vikings have had a light injury report all season, but Tomlinson being out again is their first major player missing in a game in weeks. Okay, so this team has been relatively healthy. Starting center Garrett Bradbury ankle was a full participant Friday. After being limited Thursday, he was not given an injury designation. After missing the first 2 practices of the week, Allen finally returned to the field on Friday in a limited capacity and was officially listed as questionable for Sunday's matchup against Minnesota. I don't know, man. If you're Buffalo, are you playing him? I mean, if you're the head coach, are you playing him?
It really depends on how bad the injury is and what the risks are. To be honest, I don't think it's a call that you or I can make. They have to make the decision based on what the medical team says. But it's scary, when you're looking at a guy who, he gets hit one more time in that elbow. Is he gone for the year now? Are you looking at now Case Keenum as your starting quarterback trying to win a Super Bowl?
It could have been Mitch Trubisky, but he's down there somewhere in Pittsburgh. But let's be real, man. Minnesota doesn't really play a good defense. Buffalo is going to give them a heavy dose of running, and I don't believe it's going to be from the quarterback position. I think you're going to see a very vanilla offense from Buffalo today. I kind of like Buffalo to cover the 6.5 points, and I'm going to tell you why. Because they're going to kind of keep it close to the vest. They're going to get after Minnesota, especially in the passing game. They are going to try to get after them hard. There's going to be some wrinkles in this game. I don't know what I like more. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know if I like Buffalo minus the 6.5 or the over 44.5. I'm going to let you go first. What do you think you like in this game? You like Buffalo to cover the points, or do you like Minnesota to cover? I mean, you like Minnesota or Buffalo to cover the 6.5?
So, I mean, I think the Bills will win, but I do think the Vikings are going to beat the spread. And I'm with you on the over. I think it's going to be over on the points. And one matchup I really want to see is, Patrick Peterson's having a comeback year. I want to see him and Stephon Diggs and see how that matchup goes. I'm curious.
That's cool. Let's get to the comments really quick. Christopher Cole says first, you're damn right, Chris. How you doing? Thanks for tuning in. Kevin D. Hey, Kevin. Geno can't be comeback player of the year because he was never there before. Correct. Kevin D says, I'd sit Josh Allen for the first half and only play him in the second half if necessary. There's a lot of season left in the AFC games coming up. Man makes a great point. I kind of have to agree with him. I don't think it's going to make a difference whether you're the 1 or the 2 seed in the AFC. Honestly, I don't. I think they're going to have home field advantage. I think they are the better team in the AFC. I think Kansas City is a close second. Your thoughts?
I think it depends on how the game is going. And again, it all depends on how that medical team is telling them to proceed with. You have to follow that because of how important this player is to the team overall.
Okay, that's pretty good. Let's go to the next game. Broncos at the Titans. I mean, that's a barn burner, isn't it? where do I start? There's 10 or 11 injuries for the Broncos. And the Titans, they have a ton of injuries as well. But what's your biggest concern with either one of these two teams? And I'm going to let you talk about the Titans first.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest concern with the Titans is who's going to play quarterback. I mean, Malik Willis has looked horrible, and from everything you read, it looks like Tannehill is going to be good to go. So that's great news for them because it's also great news for us because who the hell wants to watch Willis go ahead and play again? That's been horrendous the last couple of weeks.
It is pretty ugly, isn't it? You know what that line is? Tennessee's at home and only 2.5-point favorites, and Denver can't score points.
They also can't stop the run.
But here's something that people don't know: the Titans have 4 defensive starters out of this game. But the major status for Sunday's game is Tannehill. Just like you were saying, the quarterback was limited on Friday's practice. Head coach Mike Vrabel was non-committal on Tannehill. That means he's playing. That's just trying to get Denver off of their game a little bit. I do not believe Malik Willis is playing this game. But even if he was, I still think Tennessee at home with that rejuvenated running game, do I dare say that? Oh, my God. I mean, they're just pounding the rock like crazy. They're 2.5-point favorites. The Greeks giving you take and lay the 2.5 points against Denver. I do like Tennessee with or without Tannehill in this game.
Yeah, I'm with you on that 100%. I would definitely also say to take the under on this. I expect this to be a low-scoring game because of how much the Tennessee Titans are going to run the ball. Here's an interesting stat. Denver actually has given up 5 yards per carry to running backs this year.
Stop it.
And they got King Henry coming into town. You know what he's going to be saying at the end of the game? Let's ride.
Let's ride. So what if Malik Willis is playing quarterback? Here you go, Derek. Oh, it's 10 years. Here you go, Derek. Oh, yeah. Where's Derek? They're going to be, I'll tell you what. You know how they said some teams can see ghosts? What was his name that played for the Jets as a quarterback? What was his name? Quarterback. Plays for Carolina now, is sitting on the bench. What the hell's his name?
We're all drawing blanks here. What's his name from USC there?
Yes. I'm seeing ghosts out there.
Oh, my God.
If you want
to, in the comments section, save us.
Really? Come save us, because neither one of us are prepared here. Oh, my Lord.
The guy that should have been the first overall pick, everybody said, and it's been crud ever since.
Oh, my God. Jacksonville at Kansas City. Let me tell you something. Jacksonville has only got 1 injury on this team right now. It's safety, Rashawn Jenkins. He's questionable. The Chiefs, they're pretty healthy as well. What do you like in this game? Why do you like it before I give you any of the odds on which way we're going to lean?
Oh, I mean, I think definitely the Chiefs are going to win the game. That's not a doubt in my mind. The big thing is, can the Jaguars beat the spread, considering that their offense is
9-point favorites, guys.
Yeah. So, I mean, the other thing also I think is big is going to be on the over-under there as well, if you want to give them that, Harry.
Hey, it's 51. There's a lot of points. Let me tell you something. Jacksonville continues to be one of the healthiest teams in the NFL. Only Jenkins carries a designated entering Week 10, and he was limited on practice on Friday. He's going to play. Tight end Evan Ingram was listed on the injury report with a back injury, but practiced fully, and he's good to go Sunday. Hardman didn't practice at all due to an abdomen injury and held out of Kansas City's Week 10 matchup against the Jags. That's it. Meanwhile, McKinnon was downgraded to a limited participant in Friday's practice after being a full participant 2 days prior. So something happened there. The pass-catching back is dealing with an array of injuries that's now officially listed as questionable. Does it hurt them not having McKinnon in this offense?
Oh, it's always going to hurt anytime you lose anybody. I think the big star you're going to see for the game overall this week, though, is going to be Travis Kelce, as many weeks he's the star, because the Jacksonville Jaguars have a trouble with tight ends this season. So I'm fully expecting him to have a big game. Okay. And, people got to remember, too, as well, Kansas City is league leading now with 30.5 points per game. So he got the over-under at, you said 51?
It's 51. Kansas City's -9, so, and it's 51 points. But I do want to point out one thing, Andrew. And by the way, the other giant goofball sitting in my back door, I can actually see him. If you can wave to me.
There he is.
There's my boy right there.
You my boy, Blue.
But anyway, what I'm trying to say is Jacksonville was a huge underdog a couple of weeks back at the Chargers. Do we see another repeat of that? Not only were they a huge underdog, they won.
Yeah.
But let's be fair. The Chargers were pretty banged up in that game, especially Herbert playing QB. But nobody expected that. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not even expecting this game to be close after the first quarter. I honestly think that Kansas City is going to jump on them hard, often, and early. I don't like the over-under, and if you had to push me into a corner, I'd bet the under in this game because I think this game's going to be a blowout. It's going to be like 35-10. Honestly, I'm not kidding you. It's going to be one of those type of games.
See, I'm a different mentality than you. I got the Chiefs to win it, but I do think the Jags are going to beat the spread, and I got the over. I think the Jaguars' offense is going to try to keep up.
If the Jags cover the game does go over. That is you see, ladies and gentlemen, the people that understand anything about wagering and the live and the avid people that actually follow the show, there is nothing wrong with taking Andrew's pick in this because if you like the Jaguars to cover the spread, you just heard what I said prior to what he was talking about and just giving his prediction. I think it's going to be a blowout one way. If Kansas City blows them out, the game goes under. If the game is a little closer, the game's actually going to go over because Jacksonville's going to score some points. So you go ahead and make the educated decision out there. Andrew, that's a great point. But without further ado, I got to bring in your co-host. I understand you. It's not good just to run around with one ball. We got to have two goofballs up in here. Rob, how are you up there? How's that weather up there in New Jersey?
Oh, it's just ducky. It's about 60 degrees out. It's hoodie weather. It's
60. Oof.
It's Jersey. It's Jersey.
Crazy.
It's
60.
good.
You're complaining that it's 60 degrees?
No. It was 40 degrees the other day. That was the high at 40. So I'll take the 60 degrees right now at 11 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah, without question.
Yeah, without a question.
He's got
But I'm going to jump into this Kansas City game. So KC does win. They're going to win by 10 points. And they're also going to go in the over.
Really?
Jacksonville will put the points up to get the over. But you also have to realize that since Mahomes went to KC, they have not lost in November and December. Like, they just put up points and they win. So you got to put KC for the win.
I like KC to win. I just have it a little bit different. I have Kansas City in a blowout, and I like the under because of that. But if you guys think that Kansas City won't cover the 9 points,
no, I think they cover.
It'll go over.
So I'm different from all you guys. I think they cover. I think they cover. They win, they cover, and I think Jacksonville will put up some points to get there. It's going to be like a 45-17 game.
Kevin D says Doug Peterson looks like he did in his last year in Philadelphia. Any comments to that?
That's about it.
Anybody got anything?
That's
you
my
guys
comment.
can hear me, but I can't hear you. Hold on.
Exactly. We lost you in there, Harry.
Now I can hear you guys. Don't say
you
that.
Sound beautiful.
About the Greek. That's not nice.
Were
there any comments to what he said about Doug Peterson?
Yeah, I said basically he's
still
upgrade over Urban Meyer because of what he had last year, but yeah, he hasn't done the greatest job, looks like, this year.
The next game we're going to talk about is going to be the Cleveland Browns at the Miami Dolphins.
Oh.
Hold on. Miami's only a 3.5 point favorite, totals 48.5. First off, let's talk about the elephant in the room, gentlemen. Is Deshaun Watson even on the clock yet? How come we haven't talked about that idiot? Rob, you first.
Because he's an idiot and he's not on the clock yet. I mean, everything I've looked at, there's no words about Deshaun getting massages anywhere. So
when does he come back and play? That's the whole thing. How many games was it that he was supposed to be out?
It's week 11, wasn't it?
Yep,
he's
that's
allowed
next
back
week.
next
Yeah.
week. So he's actually allowed back in the facility as of Monday.
Does he play?
Yeah.
Does he play?
Of course he plays.
He has to.
Week. Who are they playing next week?
Oh,
if I remember correctly, they're playing the Houston Texans.
Oh,
you don't think the NFL
right.
is going to make sure that the Houston Texans game has Deshaun Watson?
Cleveland at Miami, guys. Miami's a 3.5-point favorite. Total's 48. Rob, who do you like and why?
I like the Dolphins to win this game. I like the under in this game because the Browns defense they play close every game, but you can't take two out of this game. I like the Dolphins to win. Tua takes the victory lap, but it's in the under.
Thank you. Andrew.
I got to say the line this week is a disrespect, I think, to the Dolphins overall. I think the Dolphins are going to win. I think it's not going to be close, and I do got the over on this game as well.
The bye week wasn't enough for the Browns to get Njoku healthy, okay? And he was ready to go for this game against Miami. This is the second game that he has missed due to a high ankle injury. That's going to hurt him since the Ravens game in week 7. I don't know, man. I'm going to tell you why this game's only 3.5 because people don't know if this Miami Dolphins team is an up-and-coming team or they just got a really crappy defense because this game against the Chicago Bears, they should have blew Chicago out of the game, and then all of a sudden, Miami couldn't stop the run. Hold on. They just couldn't stop the run.
That's also not fair to say. That's also not fair to say because as the Bears fan, you also have to notice that the coaching has changed in the past few weeks where they're playing to the strengths of your offense and not just to what the coaching wants to play.
Well, that's absolutely correct.
The Bears have been putting up points.
Yeah, but
they put up how many points against Dallas? And Dallas has eliminated a lot of – Dallas might be one of the best defenses in the league right now. And how many points did the Bears put up against Dallas?
I think it's 29.
Yeah, that's.
No, I understand where you're coming from, and of course they're going to start adding more wrinkles to a quarterback that they haven't seen, especially with a new coaching staff. But the biggest problem with that is not the problem. The biggest benefit the Chicago Bears have, and we're going to get into this in a little while, is that that offensive line is starting to play better, and they're rolling the pocket out for Justin Fields. The point I'm trying to make, and you guys are both going to agree, is that Miami really struggles against teams that know how to run the football, especially at the quarterback position. If you remember correctly, when they played Baltimore was just absolutely giving them a spanking, and then Baltimore just couldn't hold up on defense, and it was one of those miraculous comebacks that Miami put together. And you're right, Tua's playing lights out. Those wide receivers have got to be two of the fastest wide receiver tandems ever to suit up in a football game, okay?
The Cheetah and the Penguin.
Correct. And
no, it's
Chicago struggled because let's be fair, guys, especially on defense. They've gotten rid of everybody. You got no Khalil Mack, no Hicks, you have no Roquan Smith, no Robert Quinn. I mean, you got a lot of young kids that are trying to be hungry and are trying to play, and it was a good game. So the question is it two up-and-coming teams, or does Miami suck on defense? And I'm going to probably be a little bit of the both, but probably leaning toward that Miami really struggles on defense, especially against the run. Be careful, Miami. This game is 3.5 points because Chicago took you to the wire like that. This is supposed to be a 7 or 8 point game, especially back in Miami. I'm going to go ahead and give the pick out first. Miami minus the 3.5. Go ahead and lay the points, but be very careful because of the fact that Miami struggles and lets teams, it lets teams go ahead and stay into the game. What's your thoughts, Drew?
Yeah, so like I said, I definitely think the Dolphins will win and cover the spread. Like I said before, I got the over. The big thing I'm looking to see is does Bradley Chubb now, his second week being in Miami, does he make a difference in the pass rush? I'm curious to see that overall.
Oh, I have no idea. Rob, you have anything else to add?
No, that's it. I think Chubb will be a benefactor in this game, but
Kevin D says, has Watson met the Has Watson met the criteria for reinstatement? I don't know. They don't talk about it anymore. It's like the NFL has lifted up the carpet and kind of swept it up underneath. I'll tell you when you're going to find that out is tomorrow when ESPN starts to talk about it. Because if there is an inkling that this man's going to play, it's going to be like the biggest news that is out there. Sports books are going to be going crazy. There's going to be more prop bets over or under how many times Deshaun Watson looks at a girl in the
gets a massage.
I mean, come on, give me a break.
Well, let's see what kind of protesters even have outside the stadium before the game.
Yep. Kevin D says there's no how many protesters. That's true. There's no book on fields yet for defenses to game plan. That's not quite true. He's been around for a year.
Yeah.
The Bears are only starting to play to his strengths. You are correct because the offensive line is getting a little bit better week in and week out. And I'm going to attribute that a little bit later when we talk about the Garrett Bears game because I think the additions of a couple of wide receivers have been the biggest difference. Not because they're catching the ball, because they're blocking the way they are downfield. But we're going to get to that in just a minute. All right, let's put that one in the books. Let's talk about the Texans at the Giants. Right up in Europe. Hold on, guys. Do any of your two gentlemen know what the line was last Monday? Houston
6.5.
It was 7.5, sir. Good guess.
It was 7.5. All right, so when we looked at our Pick'ems game, it was 6.5, and now it's down to what, 4.5? It's
down to 4.5 and 41 points, gentlemen. I mean, I'm going to go ahead and read a couple of things for you. Houston may be getting back 2 of its top wide receivers in week 10. Both Cooks and Collins were able to practice. I mean, that's bad for Giants. Galladay. Oh my God. Hold on. Galladay hasn't played since week 4, but he's expected to be available on Sunday. Andrew, I got to know. How does that make you feel? Your buddy Kenny Galladay's coming back.
Listen, he's off. He's off his extended Galladay there. He's had But listen, the wide receiver core the Giants have, if he's even half the player he ever was, and is in tune at all with what's going on in the game, that's a good get and a good addition for the Giants.
Rob, how about you, buddy?
Dude, if he's a quarter of the player he used to be, he will be an addition to this staff. Right now, Wandell is going to be like our number 1 this week, which was supposed to be our number 4 coming into the league. Slayton, same thing. Number 3 is top of the league for us. But what's going to happen in this game, Barkley gets 2 touchdowns, 150 yards. DJ gets 90 yards rushing.
You're not partial here, are you guys?
Not partial at all.
Not at all.
Well, also, when you're playing against the worst rush defense,
I'm glad you.
What are you going to do?
I'm glad you guys said that. Let me know when it's Harry's time to play in the sandbox.
What are you going to do against the worst rush defense when you have the best rushing combo in the NFL?
Hey, Rob.
You got to rush the ball.
Hey, Rob.
Hi.
No more coffee for you. You're very excited.
I am super excited. I can't get enough.
But he's breaking out the goofball.
Puff, pass. puff. Oh no, coffee. That's what it was. Here's my coffee cup. It says, "I love you, Dad, a whole lot," and I got the picture of the cat's ass in there. I love it. You got the kitty cat. Oh no, you got the dog paws.
It's a dog paws.
Hey man, cats rule, dogs drool.
Ooh,
they do, but they rule.
I feel like I need a
anyway.
cup.
So I think actually, what's going to happen in this game is it's going to be a lights out game for the Giants. Not only because I'm partial.
That's okay. You can be partial.
Mostly.
I am mostly partial. When you have the
ladies and gentlemen, this
top
is what
5
Giants fan looks like. There he is.
Right here. when you got a top 5 rushing quarterback, when you got the top 5 rushing running back, they're going to run the shit out of the ball. Excuse my language.
No, it's okay.
You know what it's going to do? It's also going to help open up the pass game. You got Kenny Galladay coming back. You got Wandell playing great. You got Slayton. And I hate to say
great is a really hard word to use here, okay? It really is. Let me tell you something. The Giants are playing some
great
really
for the Giants
football. Yes, it is. Andrew, piggyback off your boy.
I mean, the big thing is, like we mentioned, the Texans aren't that good against the run. They're allowing 5.5 yards per carry over the season now, and they got, as you said, Saquon Barkley and Daniel Jones to go ahead and contend. I'll tell you this, a hidden matchup that a lot of people won't talk about that I want to see how it goes in this game Andrew Thomas, who's probably playing the best tackle in all of football right now, going against Jerry Hughes, who's had 7 sacks in the season and really had a resurgence since leaving Buffalo.
Jerry,
to go
who
to
is as
Houston.
old as you are, Hughes.
Actually, he's 7 years younger than me, Harry, but I appreciate that.
It was, you know the innuendo I was making.
No, you said I look like I'm 33. Thank you.
Yeah, okay, sorry. You guys are. I mean, this is why we call them 2 giant goofballs. I kind of love it. Houston may be getting back 2 of his top wide receivers, as I said, both Cooks and Collins. Galladay hasn't played since week 4, but he's available to play against Houston. I'm going to go ahead and rebuttal a few things.
Go for it.
New York is going to struggle at stopping Houston's offense. We're going to talk about the matchups here. I'm not saying that the Giants are going to lose this football game, and rightfully they're not supposed to. But you would both agree that Houston's defense is the worst in the league at stopping the run, correct? Unanimous decision.
Correct.
And New York has this really vaunted running game with arguably the best running back in football in Saquon Barkley and a real mobile quarterback in Daniel Jones, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Now, when you go up, here's the point that I'm going to make now.
He's going to talk about the cornerbacks against our receivers, which is absolutely true.
No, I'm not talking about that yet. I'm talking about how you game plan against a one-dimensional team. You're not going to see the worst run defense in the National Football League when you don't respect the pass when you're playing them. They're still going to get gouged, and New York's going to get their yards. But it's not going to be like Chicago put up 200 and plus, I think it was 260 or 270 yards up against the Houston Texans. I don't see that happening in this game because Lovie Smith is too good of a defensive coach and a defensive-minded coach to allow that to happen. The Giants roll on. I don't believe they're going to cover the spread in this game. This game's going to be a lot closer than what people say. At the 4.5, I'm a little bit more leery. When I got them at 7, that's a different story. I took it. But I will say this. Houston will have a lot of success throwing the ball downfield, but in order to keep this game close, they better find a running game because too many quick 3-and-outs against this New York team, and you give New York the chance to go ahead and run for 150, as Rob was alluding to a little bit earlier on his evaluation, it could be a very long day for Houston. But I see just a little bit difference because I think Houston's going to pass the ball downfield. I got them for a good 24 to 27 points in this game. They're going to have to run the ball, and they're going to have to run the ball a lot in New York. And I'm going to give Daniel Jones, you ready, guys? Not 1, 2 touchdowns in this game. How about that?
Ooh.
Any picks or fumbles? I heard he's a turnover machine.
You know
Is
what?
he going to the Pro Bowl?
You know what? You're a dick. Any turnovers? No, but seriously, I honestly, I think it's going to be just the opposite. I mean, Saquon's going to have a really big day. I don't think he's going to have it on the ground getting into the end zone. I think that New York, when they win, they're going to win by passing the football in this game because they're going to know that you're going to stuff 8, 9, and 10 people in the box to stop the run, and I think they're going to get burned deep. I really do. I honestly, I could see this happening, and dare I say it, Kenny Galladay might even get one of those touchdowns.
Be his first one.
I'm hoping you're right there, and I'm doing a bold prediction that he's going to get 60 yards and 1 touchdown.
60 yards and 1 touchdown.
Here's an interesting little side story in this game.
Look at the Giants. Look at the Giants. How many yards has the best game wide receivers put up this year?
40, if we're lucky.
I don't know. Kevin D says
a little 50.
If Galladay has more catches than drops, it'll be a miracle.
You're right.
Here's a little interesting side story, though. I just read this morning that I think is going to
give us your side story, sir.
Guess who got his captaincy removed today?
Tell me.
Brandon Cooks.
No, he didn't.
They removed his captaincy over the whole incident.
That's because he's crying about not being traded.
So you say about them getting the receivers back. Let's see how into the game he really is now.
Yeah,
you're absolutely true. Let's move on to the next game. The New Orleans Saints. They're at the Pittsburgh Steelers. Guys, New Orleans is only a 1-point favorite at Pittsburgh. I'm going to go ahead and read a couple of things to you. You ready?
So when did you look at that last? Because actually I looked at that this morning, and it was a straight push. Like it was a pick 'em.
So now they're at pick 'em. The vast majority.
I was looking this morning at 7 o'clock, 7:30 this morning, preparing for this podcast, and it was a 3-point difference when Drew and I did our pick'ems on Monday night, and I took the Steelers to win this in an upset, and now it's a straight up pick'em with the over under at 39 and a half. And KC is, I'm sorry, KC, but the Steelers are still going to come out there and win this game. Sorry.
Well, I got to give my love out to the Caesars
Coffee.
Sportsbook for obvious reasons. Hello, Caesars. Thank you for tuning in and watching. According to them, it's 6:30 in the morning. Again, this line has been moving from 1.5 to 2 to 1, back to a pick 'em, and then it was New Orleans -1. You can find it in New Orleans -1. If you like Pittsburgh, obviously you want it to be getting the points. If you don't like Pittsburgh, then you like New Orleans, you want to get it as an even money, the 1 point. But go ahead. What were you guys going to talk about, or can I continue?
Continue. Sorry.
Go for it.
Perfect. None of the players who were ruled out of practice at all this week. Now they're talking about the Saints, okay? Including Marshawn Lattimore. While New Orleans continues to deal with a bunch of injuries, they did not get an encouraging sign from Jarvis Landry. But the flip side of it says he's playing. I don't know which one it is. He's either playing or he's not. How much of a difference is it going to make for that veteran wide receiver? And if he does or doesn't carry a designation in his line to play on Sunday, are they really missing him in this?
Probably
I don't see
not.
them really missing him too much. To be honest, the big key for the Saints this year has been the run game. So when the Saints have rushed for 135 yards or more, they're 3-1 this season.
Wow, great stat.
When they're rushed for under 115, they're 0-5.
Rob?
He took the words right out of my mouth. And
Must have been
also, Drew, it was the call. Yeah. Another thing I was going to go at was it's the coffee. No. So every time that our favorite New Orleans Ginger, Andy Dalton, goes against the Steelers, when he was a Bengal, another Ginger of the NFL, he is 3-13, which means the coaching staff knows how to get after that quarterback that's playing the ball against that team. 3-13. Meanwhile, yes, it was the Bengals. Dalton won a lot of games as a Bengal.
Yeah, but you know who's never won a game against the Saints? You know who it's never won.
You know
a game
what,
against the Saints?
Rob?
Mike
You know
Tomlin.
who you remind me of, and I love it. One of the Wayne's World dudes. I love it, man. No.
Party on!
No,
Wayne's World.
No, not the Wayne's World, but you know the dude from what was that name of the movies that were shot in Jersey with the two guys?
Clerks?
No, Jay. Huh?
You're talking about
Jay and
Clerks.
Silent Bob?
Jay and Silent Bob.
Jay and Silent Bob. Dude,
So,
I'm serious.
here's an interesting
Does
thing.
it look like
give you a
Silent Bob after a heart attack? Am I Silent Bob after a heart attack when he got thin?
We actually grew up
But-
in that neighborhood. Is the funny thing, literally.
Yeah, it's
You guys
your
were
wife
really-
in that neighborhood.
Your
Yeah.
wife's in the same neighborhood.
Actually, my wife went to school, if I'm not mistaken, with one of them. No, her cousin went to school.
Yeah.
Which one did she go to school with? With who? With Kevin Smith. Yes, she did.
Yeah.
yeah.
So
Hey,
Kevin
Pig Dog
Smith's
has a
brother-in-law was my
question.
track
Hold on.
coach in high school.
Hold on. We are mere peasants to the people that watch the show. Pig Dog says, Harry, do the 49ers at 7.5-point favors over the Chargers seem a bit excessive? Think there is some value at the Chargers tonight. We're going to get to that in just a little bit. I think it's just a couple of games away. I'll give you my final thoughts on that. Which game were we talking about? New Orleans at Pitt. Drew, who do you like? Do you like New Orleans -1? Or do you like Pitt +1? Or do you like the over-under 40? What do you like, Drew?
I got the Saints at that point winning. I just think the Steelers, the way that the Kenny Pickett's play this year is literally the last in the NFL in passer rating. The one hope they have is TJ Watt coming back this week. Oh yeah,
He's the
his future is about as tiny. His future is about as tiny.
He's also played half the games. Come on, Steelers are going to win this game.
Woo!
They're going to win it.
Bold prediction.
Bold prediction. They're going to win it. They're going to win it in the under. And it's not just the coffee.
Wow.
Because I moved on to water.
Drew, ready? Off with his head.
Oh, there we go. He's gone.
There you go. I like that. I am Caesar.
Oh, no.
Off with his head. Drew, what do you like here, bud?
So, yeah, like I said, I got the Saints to cover. I got the over on the points, though. I do think there's going to be some points as Kenny Pickett's going to try to basically give the Steelers a reason to think he is still the future.
You know what? I kind of like the Kenny Pickett pickup, but it is too early. I think they're they're shoving this young man into the wolves a little bit too quick. When Watt went down, it kind of hurt that defense. So they really not, there's a lot of factors. Pittsburgh's a much better team than what they're showing. New Orleans is really banged up. They've been playing out their ear hole, bro, but they're on the road today. Don't be surprised if Pittsburgh wins this game. Don't be surprised if New Orleans wins this game. But I will tell you what I do like. The Greek's going to give you ready? A very sneaky over in this game. It's only 40. Usually when it's 40 or under, I've always bet the under because they're begging you to bet the over. I'm telling you to take it. I really do think there's going to be some funky points scored in this game. Don't be surprised. There's a couple of defensive touchdowns in this game by either one of these two teams. That's what I kind of like. I do like the over in this game quite a bit. Any rebuttal?
No, I'm with you there 100%. I think the over would be a really good pick this week.
I think the under, guys. I'm sorry. You're right. I just don't think both quarterbacks are going to put up points.
Just trying to make your head again.
You ready? This is a barn burner. The Indianapolis Colts at the Raiders. Are you kidding me? Hold on. I mean, it's not really a wolf game. This could be a pretty good betting game, actually, guys. The Raiders are only 3.5-point favorites. And the total's 41 points. The major development for the Colts is Jonathan Taylor, who had an ankle. Guess what? He's a full participant in Friday's practice and was not given an injury designation. Jackson will be out, so Zach Moss and possibly Jordan Wilkins will spell Taylor against the Raiders. Kyle Granson will be the lone tight end if Allie Cox, who was limited Friday, can't go. Pay hasn't practiced all week, so he'll be a game-time decision. What do you like here, Rob, and why?
I like the Colts to win this game. You said Jonathan Taylor. I like the Colts. I like the Colts to win this game.
I gotta see Andrew's face when he says that.
Is that Irish coffee that you have? Oh my God! Really? What the hell have you been drinking? Seriously.
Have you also been watching the Raiders? Have you also been watching the Raiders? The Colts are going to win in a defensive battle in the under in this game. Jonathan Taylor, you said his name. He's not going to produce as much as you guys want him to produce. And I wish that's the case because I have him as my number one draft pick in fantasy football, and he's been garbage all year except for one game. Garbage. But the Colts are going to win. Garbage.
As the French would say.
Yeah, garbage. Throw him to the trash.
This croissant is garbage.
But the Raiders find ways to lose games. The Colts are coming in with Mr. Saturday.
Ladies and gentlemen, Godwin from Tom Brady, 21-3, Tampa Bay. Andrew, who do you like in this game?
I like the Raiders, and I like the Raiders big time. I think it's pretty obvious, if it wasn't already obvious, by removing Matt Ryan and putting Sam Ehlinger as the quarterback, when they removed Frank Reich and put Jeff Saturday, who's never coached on any day of the week, let alone a Saturday, as their new head coach. They're tanking, dude. These guys are tanking like you wouldn't believe. It's so obvious it's not even funny. The NFL really should do something about this.
They really
I'll take your apology tomorrow.
About it. You remember a couple of years ago when people were tanking for Tua? You remember that one? The analogy? Yeah. Well, they're tanking for whoever.
Well, the weird thing is the Dolphins were the tank for Tua, and they got him.
Yep. But, Rob, I got to tell you, I kind of agree with you. And Drew, I agree with you. But the only opinion that matters, hang on. It's this pretty face right here.
No, listen, you took mine off the screen.
The Raiders have had an absolute horrible season on the road. They do win big today. Lay the points. Believe me, lay the points in the Raiders. It's only 3.5. You got to take them. That's just a consensus pick there on that one. Cowboys at the Packers. Oh boy, how about this? The Cowboys opened the week up at the Cowboys opened the week up at -8. Hold on, they opened up -8. This game, God bless America, it's down to 4.5. In some sites, it's 4 points. The total on the over or under is 44.5. Rob, who do you like here?
I like Dallas at +8. I'm still going to take Dallas now.
Not plus. No. They're favorite.
I'm sorry, minus. I'm sorry, minus. They will win by 8 points. I like them winning by 8 points. They are still going to win by 8 points, even though now they're supposed to win by 4 points. Dallas is going to win. Their defense is too good. The Packers are on a decline. And
okay, you're on a Chicago platform. You can say Packers.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right. So the
yeah,
Packers,
but
they're just
not around the
Aaron
not around the
Rodgers.
sun.
I don't know. I don't know if it's a coaching issue. I don't know if it's a rookie issue. I don't know if it's an offensive line issue. I don't know what the issue is, but
Well, you know what the
Green
issue
Bay
is?
has fallen off.
They fed them.
They're in a Michigan Lake. That's what they are. They're in Michigan Lake. They're not playing Green Bay. They're in Michigan Lake. They're terrible.
Lake
And
Michigan.
here you go. There's the smallest violin playing for Aaron Rodgers, playing
He
like
was saying
shit.
it Spanish style,
because-
moving the words around.
Yeah, yeah. Touche. But
Drew,
Josh,
who do you like and why?
You know, I like the Cowboys pretty big in this. I think it's going to be an interesting matchup overall, though, because you got Mike McCarthy versus Aaron Rodgers. Those guys are besties, we all know, right?
Revenge game.
But
Revenge
when
game.
the Packers are coming in a 5-game losing streak right now, and Rodgers has looked worse and worse as this streak's going on. He had 2 out of his 3 picks were in the end zone last week. You can't do that against a team like the Dallas Cowboys. So I got the Cowboys to win pretty big. And I actually still have the over because I think the game's going to go that out of hand for the Packers.
That's
They're gonna be just
44.5. That's a great analogy. But
embarrassed.
I want to go ahead and talk a little bit about this game because this is actually my game of the week. Harry always loves to give home underdogs. I mean, who in their right mind last week, other than Jacob from the Hard Count Football podcast or Harry the Greek, tell you that the Jets would probably beat the Buffalo Bills? I mean, think about that. Before I go on a long tangent, let me explain something. The best team doesn't always win, especially on the road. Houston did it against Indianapolis in week 1 when they tied. The Pittsburgh Steelers did it on the road at Cincinnati, which was one of my games of the week. Chicago did it in game 1 in a rain fest against the San Francisco 49ers. The list can go on and on and on and on, but I'm going to read a few things. Elliott may be questionable for the Cowboys, but he's expected to play based on the praise of Jerry Jones and Mike McCarthy. The Packers have 3 starters out, Dobbs, Candles, and Stokes, but have other starters that weren't given injury designation. Alan Lazard's shoulder, Sammy Watkins and his knee, and Aaron Jones will play. John Runyon, Elgin Jenkins, they will play. Bakhtiari was limited Friday, but he's also going to play. Look, I'm not a Green Bay fan at all. This is my game of the week. This is the upset special. Forget about taking the points because the Greek bought them when they were getting a ton of points because that money line was a lot higher. Don't be afraid to take them at plus 4.5. This is the upset game. This is the game that's going to make you some money. Put Green Bay finally on the money line. They get it right because Dallas, once you take, hang on, who's going to get locked down? You and I were just talking about this in a pregame. Who was it, Mr. Drew?
Yeah, so I said I think CeeDee Lamb's going to get shut down by Alexander. The interesting part about that as well, though, is Green Bay also does have the second highest blitz rate in the NFL. So I'm actually expecting Dalton Schultz, of all people, to be the main target for
that. Very well
Prescott.
could be. But I'm telling you right now, guys, do not be afraid to take the Green Bay Packers, whatever they are, okay? The team up there in Lake Michigan. That's it. Do not be afraid to take Green Bay in this game because Dallas, they're not only a really good defense. This team that they're playing in Green Bay, they could bring the D as well. And the weather's not supposed to be too pretty up there, but do not be afraid to take this pick. Take Green Bay on the money line. Forget the 4.5 points. You're going to get a good return. Any rebuttals, guys? Because we're going to move on to the next game.
I have to rebuttal that. I'm sorry. Green Bay can't put it together. Listen, I have Lazard on my fantasy team. I think he's going to do great if you have him on fantasy. But Micah Parkinson, he's too good. Like, he's going to get after everyone there. No, I'm sorry. Like, I don't.
Micah Parsons does one thing very well. It's rush the quarterback. He struggles against the run, especially east and west. And it has been shown numerous times. I break down game film. This is where everybody is a little, and again, I don't like to use the word wrong because everybody's entitled to an opinion. There's one thing that I do that a lot of people don't. I spend hours upon hours watching and studying things. Micah Parsons struggles against the run. Great football player. Great linebacker. The Packers know how to run the football. And trust me, they're going to go after the middle of that defensive line.
You also have Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones is coming off an ankle injury, right? You have A.J. Dillon, who's also a good running back, but I don't. Yeah, I don't know. I rebuttal. I think Dallas wins this game, and I think they win it in the over, and I think they put up the points.
Perfect.
My
Drew,
rebuttal. I'm done.
anything else from you, Drew?
No, like I said, I just think that it's going to be a game that really is going to solidify that the Packers are just not the Packers of old anymore.
Yep. We're going to get to the
Yes.
one game that Pig Dog was talking about, to the 49ers at 7.5. The Chargers seem to be a bit excessive. Andrew, I'm going to let you start with it.
I mean, I
7.5
wouldn't say
points.
excessive necessarily. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say that's excessive necessarily, considering how well the Niners have looked the last couple of weeks, and how off the Chargers have pretty much looked all season long there. Especially with Deebo Samuel coming back this week now, so they get both Deebo Samuel and Christian McCaffrey for the first time since that trade's gone down. It's going to be interesting, really, to see
Touchdown
Deebo Samuel
Seattle.
against Asante Samuel, because that's a Samuel versus Samuel battle there.
7.5 point favorites. Give me a side.
So I got the Niners still. I think the Niners are still going to win that good. And I think they are going to cover that spread. And I do think they're going to score a good amount of points on both sides, though. So I do have the over. I think that's a good bet this week.
Rob?
I have the Niners covering. I think the Niners are going to put the points. I think the Chargers too much beat up. They're too beat up. Granted, both teams are about 500 against the spread. The Chargers are favored against the spread, but the Niners with McCaffrey, they're going to be lights out.
I really don't have too much of an opinion in this game because Allen is still week to week with the injury, not having played since week 7. Joey Bosa hasn't been active. I mean, the list just goes on and on and on. Gentlemen, you're correct. There's a lot of injuries on here. However, Nick Bosa isn't the only starter who was expected to play finally on the 49ers defensive line. There's 4 other defensive linemen that are not playing for San Francisco. This team is beat up. Nobody's talking about this. Bosa is the only starter that's going to be playing in this game. Does this have a bearing effect on what's the Chargers are trying to do? Do you think the Chargers are going to put up some points on this team because they're going to lack at the pass rush? Because Bosa can't do it, just like Micah Parsons, okay? Not just one player is going to be able to get to your quarterback if you don't have a healthy defensive line. Both of you guys have to agree with that. Any change of thought on that with Frisco covering now that I told you that?
No, because the Chargers' offensive line is also banged up, and they've been getting terrible pass rushing, and rushing has been getting after the quarterback against the Chargers. So, yes, the Niners have been beat up on defense. They've come out the beginning of the year, excelled until they got beat up, averaging 11 points. And in this past month, they've put up average 20 points against the defense for the Niners. But it doesn't change my thoughts. The Niners are still going to put up probably 30 points to the Chargers 17.
Yep. Drew?
No, I'm still in the same ballpark there. I think that both teams have injury concerns overall, and I think both teams are going to have a good game against dealing with the other defenses being a little banged up. But I do think still the 49ers are going to dominate.
Pig Dog, you asked a question. I'm going to just go put it up on the screen. I know you asked that question regarding to me. I'm going to have to go to Texas in this game, or I'm going to go to El Paso. And the reason for it is there's a lot of injuries, especially on both teams. Offensively for the Chargers, not having their wide receiver duel, the uncertainty at running back, Herbert with how many broken ribs that this guy has, the offensive line's being banged up. But then again, you get a wounded dog in the corner, they're going to want to come out and play hard. And there's they're on the National Football League roster for a reason because they're professional football players. Everybody will agree to that. Having only
100%.
one healthy defensive lineman on San Francisco is going to prove to be probably pretty bad for them. I think the Chargers are going to be able to run the ball. Don't be surprised if this game is close. I'm not giving a pick either way. But to answer your question, Pig Dog, I want you to go ahead and wait and play what they call the second half line. That's really important. Play the second half. Watch the first half, be analytical, and see if you see something swaying one way or another. And then when you see what the line is, then make a decision from there. That was a great question. I'm glad you asked it. Kevin D says, It's too difficult to gauge how the Colts respond to Jeff Saturday. Great comment. Kevin D also says Saturday has the football IQ, but does he have the locker room? Great question. Andrew, I'm going to let you take that one. Do you think he has the locker room?
I don't think so at all. Did you hear the quote that Dwight Freeney gave? He said point blank, if Jim Irsay called me up and told me to be the head coach, I would have told him flat out no. You know, a player will not respect a guy who's never coached anything beyond high school. And he even had a losing record as a high school head coach, by the way. Couldn't hack it in high school. You know, that's like, can you imagine NASA calling somebody up who dropped out of high school? Like, listen, we have the job for you.
Well, that depends. If the guy that dropped out of high school is building a nuclear generator in his garage, then yeah, I can see that. If the guy's putting a jet turbine engine on a Honda Civic, yeah, I get that. Is that
No.
Saturday?
Yeah, no.
Probably not. But does he have the locker room? I think he might have the locker room for the first couple of games. Like, you can't take it away just yet. Just because the Colts have a lot of respect for Saturday. They brought him in for a reason. You got to let him see what he does for the first couple of weeks, and then he can lose the locker room.
I'll
Okay,
tell you this.
that's
You
fine.
want to see how...
I don't think he has or has not have the locker room yet. I think they're going to wait to see what's going to happen this week.
If you want to see
That's
how
a push
he has
answer.
or doesn't have the locker room, keep an eye on quotes from Stephon Gilmore. He's a guy who does not keep his mouth shut, and that's why he's not in New England anymore. You're going to hear point blank from him what's going on.
Well, before we get to the last two games, I want to talk about a game that you and I talked about, Drew.
Mm-hmm.
The Washington Commanders are on the road at Philadelphia. Philadelphia is 11-point favorite, and the total's 43.5 points. Rob, who do you like there and why?
Woof. Well, can I ask for the stadium to explode?
That's a true Giant fan there, ladies and gentlemen.
That might be an FBI issue.
Yeah. If it happens, it was not me. I'm in Central Jersey. It did not happen.
If you hear
But
a knocking on his door and people come in with suits, we know what happened.
I like
Here come
Philly
the men
to
in
win this.
black.
I like Philly to win this game, but not to cover. I think Washington has played better with Heineke as a quarterback. They've been playing close games. There's only been a couple games this year that they've gotten blown out, but I don't see a blowout in this game. It's a divisional rivalry. And they're gonna. That's probably gonna go in the over with Washington beating the spread.
Andrew.
Yeah. So let's look real quick at the wins the Eagles have had this year, because everybody seems to like to bash the Giants for the record and the season they've had. But let's not forget the entire NFC East is playing the NFC least schedule.
Beast.
You got the Eagles win so far. Beat the Lions. Beat primetime Kirk Cousins. We know the Vikings don't play well in primetime. They beat the Commanders once with Carson Wentz. They beat the Jaguars, the Cardinals, the Cowboys without Dak, the Steelers, and the Texans. They have not beat anybody of significance. This record is not as a true record really for them there. I think the big weakness really for the Phillies defense, for Phillies defense for the Eagles there is their run defense. So I'm expecting a huge dose of Brian Robinson and Antonio Gibson. And I actually think Gibson's going to be pretty active in the passing game as well. So I think the Commanders are going to shock some people this week. And I think you're going to really see that Taylor Heineke should have been the starter all year long.
You know, I'm going to have to agree with you, especially with the Taylor Heineke thing. You know, he should have been the starter all year long. It's a divisional matchup, guys. NFC least, East, Beast, it don't make a difference. This is a divisional game. It's 11. If you wait till tomorrow, it's probably going to go to 12.5, even 13, because the money's just going to continue to pile. There's too many people in Philadelphia. They're too close to Atlantic City. They can bet, and they can just keep betting to their heart's desired. Take Washington in this game. This could be a very, very, very sneaky game. This could actually be an upset, very similar to the way it was the Jets last week. However, with that being said, it's in Philadelphia, so it's highly unlikely. If this was reversed, I could give Washington a small position in this game, but definitely take Washington with the points. We actually have a consensus unanimous pick, guys. I mean, how the hell did that happen? I mean, I'm sure. I mean, Rob hasn't agreed with the size shoes that I'm supposed to wear today, but that's all right.
The 4 horsemen.
Henry, I don't care what size shoe you wear. 8.5 is what you're wearing today.
Yeah, my toes will crinkle up like this. I wear 13.
Yeah, wow.
The Chicago Bears are at home against the Detroit Lions. This game started Chicago -4, and it's only down to 2.5. Gentlemen, that's kind of scary. Right now, the promising news for Detroit is that running back DeAndre Swift not only doesn't carry an injury designation for this game, but he was able to practice fully for the first time in weeks on Friday. Meanwhile, Reynolds was unable to hit the field at all this week, so it's not surprising to see him ruled out. On the Chicago side, Jenkins has been living in Friday's practice, something to monitor for the Bears. He's been the team's best defensive lineman this year. Who? Okay. A force in the run game. If he can't go, Michael Schofield will start. No Kendall Vilder will cause some problems for the Bears in the nickel defense, especially if Johnson can't play. And Johnson is arguably their best cornerback. One thing I can say about the Bears D, they've got a good secondary. That is the key to this team. And I can only see how much better the secondary is going to be when they address that defense, especially the linebacker position and the front four in next year's drafts. Who do you like here, guys? The game's in Chicago. I mean, 2.5 points.
Lions and Bears, oh my. I'm taking the Bears in this. The Bears.
The Bengals could play.
Yeah, if only. So I was on the Bears bandwagon at the beginning of the year. I believe that the coaching staff. I took the Bears over the Niners in week 1, and I was right about that.
That's a strong pick.
Yeah, he did. I'll vouch for that. He did say that. I thought it was crazy. I still think he's crazy, but he was right on that one.
Hang on. I think Tom Brady's human. Yep, he's human. He just threw an interception.
Yep.
At midfield.
I like
21-9, and Seattle has the football on Tampa Bay's 37, and Geno Smith is looking like Steve Young rolling to his right.
What was that score again?
He didn't look like Steve. He didn't look like Steve Young throwing the pass, though. Unfortunately. Anyway, let's get back to the Bears game.
What was that score again?
21-9.
9.
21-9.
9.
9.
Although I actually heard the other day is Seattle is actually the favorite in Germany. Like Seattle's like the favorite team in Germany. Like
would make
that's
sense
their
why the
number one
marketing
team
picked them.
Yeah.
Oh God, y'all are killing me. Drew, who do you
Going
like
back.
in this game and why?
So
I like the Bears.
Oh, you're not
Bears.
True. The Bears.
So what I think is interesting in for the Chicago Bears really recently is that their offense has gotten a lot better the last couple of weeks, but their defense, as they've made these trades and gotten rid of some of these players, has gotten worse. They've given up 84 points the last 2 weeks. But granted, that was also against the Dolphins and the Cowboys, two of the better offenses in the game here right now. But the offense for the Bears has been going up as you see more and more confidence in Justin Fields and more confidence in what he can do. Meanwhile, the Lions, they've scored less than 16 points 3 out of the last 4 games. So I'm really thinking the Bears will look really good in this game. I got them beaten. I got them covering. But I do think it's going to be a low-scoring game overall. I got the under on the spread.
Can't blame you. I think there's going to be a lot of points in this game, actually, that are going to be scored in this game because Detroit can score some points. They're very sneaky, and Chicago's defense is just – it is what it is. I'm not a Chicago fan right now, especially on the defensive side of the football. The offensive side of the football, they are going to put up some points. So the over might be a sneak play. You know what? If Chicago wins, they're going to win by field goal, maybe just a little bit more. So I would go ahead and take the Bears, but I'm more confident at them playing the over in this game. Detroit, if you remember correctly, has been playing really good football the first 5 or 6 games. Something happened in that little stretch. Mm-hmm. Is it more coming back to normal? Have teams figured it out? I don't know. But Detroit's strength was supposed to be on the defensive side of the ball, not the offensive side of the ball, and it kind of flipped when the season started for some reason. Completely flipped. Any rebuttal?
Same. Drew? But not the same.
Yeah, this is what happens. I mean, you go into a season, sometimes you expect one thing, you get something else completely different. That's why you got to love football overall in the NFL because you just never know what's going to happen year to year. And this offense is starting to bloom right as this defense is starting to go downhill.
I'm just watching Geno Smith running around like he's Steve Young, and he just slid and just took a shot and got a 15-yard penalty.
So for all the bettors out there, just reading this point, against the spread, both these teams are 4-4 against the spread.
Yep.
When you go straight up, the Bears are 3-6 compared to Detroit 2-6. So betting this game, I would probably bet the over. That's what I have to say. I think the Bears are going to win, but the over is probably going to happen. That's
Kevin D says Chargers just waiting to hire Sean Payton.
Probably.
I don't know.
Yeah. I actually think it's going to be interesting to watch what happens to Lamar Jackson. He's been saying a lot of things about Lamar Jackson. He's even made it a point to mention that it's interesting that Lamar Jackson could potentially be a free agent this offseason, as he's also a free agent as a coach.
Not the type of quarterback that Sean Payton likes to coach.
Yeah, apparently otherwise, because he's
saying it. He's saying it
vocally.
I didn't hear anything about that, but that's very, very, very interesting.
I've heard that too. He's been on a few different shows saying something about Lamar Jackson.
Wow. Pushed out of bounds, touchdown for Seattle, but they're going to call him out of bounds. They were going to make this game a little bit closer. My buddies, the two giant goofballs, I want to thank you both for showing up to the over-under on 1252 Sports. Rob, tell everybody where they can find you, buddy.
You can find me at Rob Donnelly on Instagram and on Facebook. Two Giant Goofballs. Follow us there. And, yeah, that's about it.
Do appreciate you coming on. You take care of yourself, okay, Rob?
Have a great one. Thank you for having me.
Enjoy week 10 on the NFL. Let's make some money. It's going to be a lot of fun. Rob, take care of yourself. What a good guy, man. Great guy.
Yeah,
great guy. Great guy. I love his insight. I love his passion. And, boy, really, he drinks a lot of coffee. Love it.
He does.
Andrew, tell everybody where they can find you, brother.
Yeah, so as Rob mentioned, he and I do the show together at Two Giant Goofballs, available on all your different podcast platforms, pretty much wherever you want to be, that's where it's going to be. So obviously TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter as well for our social media. And you can also follow me on Twitter at SlimDrew82. Perfect,
man. Perfect. I'm going to put you in the back room. I'll talk to you guys in just a few minutes while I wrap this up, because I'm going to go ahead and give some additional picks out there. And I do appreciate you coming on, Drew. It was a lot of fun having you as my co-host today, guys.
Pleasure as always, man.
Take care, sir. Wow. Let's get down to the nitty-gritty. Let's talk about some bets that we haven't talked about. We're about an hour away from game time. There's other lines that you can play. There's first half team total points. Houston at the New York Giants. The over and under total team points for the Houston Texans in this game is 7 points. I love the over 7 points for Houston against the Giants. And there's a reason why I got these guys in the back rooms, because they're going to start throwing stuff through the microphone and trying to hit me in the head. But I got to see them scoring 10 to 12, maybe even 14 points in this game. I think the Giants are going to struggle stopping Houston's offense, but I think Houston's going to struggle stopping the Giants' offense. So play the over 7 points for total points for Houston in the first half. Detroit's also intriguing at 10 points. It's even money over 10. Kind of shy away from it. Very small position would look good. Arizona, 9 points, over and under. Stay away from it. The Rams, 9 points, over and under. There's too many variables in this game and whether or not either Stafford is playing. They're talking about Arizona's quarterback. My brain, hang on, not Rob, but I know my boy Andrew is going to help me out here. Who's Arizona's quarterback again? My brain's just fried.
Kyler Murray is a starter, but you got Colt McCoy the backup.
Appreciate it. With Kyler Murray, the uncertainty of not being able to run because of a hamstring injury, making him a pocket passer. Which way do you lean in this game? That's why you didn't really talk about the Arizona game too much, because to be honest with you, I don't like that game at all. So the over and under, 9 points for the Rams and Arizona. That's their total in the first half. My two best games for prop bets in the first half are the Houston Texans over 7 and the Green Bay Packers over 9.5. Aaron Rodgers will put up some points today. That running game is going to be controlling. If Dallas does play really good defense, it's going to be a really long day for the Green Bay Packers, but I do like Green Bay at home. Some of the other things we talked about, I like the over 40 points in the New Orleans-Pittsburgh game. Cleveland and Miami minus the 3.5. Take it. Don't be shocked. Minnesota at Buffalo, stay away from the spread. Stay away from the spread in this game, but you can play the over 44.5. Tennessee's at home. Don't care who's playing quarterback. Lay the 2.5 points against Denver. It's a very anemic offense. The Indianapolis Colts at the Raiders. The Raiders are 3.5. They're going to play a little bit better at home. They're going to play for some pride. This game should be 7 or 8 points, but they're not. Andrew's very correct when he's talking about, you ever see a tank and, a team tank this bad and the NFL should do something about it. You're going to see how bad it's going to get. The Raiders probably win this game big. Green Bay, take them on the money line. It's my pick of the week. They were getting a whole bunch of points in the beginning part of the week. The smart money's been going towards Green Bay. Well, that wraps up for week 10 of the over-under on 1252 Sports. I'm your host, Harry the Greek, and as I always say, thank you for tuning in and keep your bets low and your returns high. Take care, everybody. Have a great day.